Welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Deveji, your host. I'm welcoming you episode 112. And today's number is 30. The US commercial lending industry is expected to be $30 trillion by 2030. Speaking of commercial lending industry, we have a great guest today, an expert, a leader in the industry. Before we have our guest, I like to make one announcement and then we can get the conversation started. As you know, in the American Business Podcast, we organize online business networking events on monthly basis. We call it the Connection America Business Alliance. And this month, we are organizing it on December 19th at 9:30 a.m. We call this podcasting plus networking. It is because once you sign up for this event, you'll be networking with other business professionals. At the same time, you'll be on the American Business Podcast and you'll be podcasting as well. So you'll be in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast followers, viewers, and subscribers. It's going to be a great event and we have limited seating. We are almost sold out. So if you're interested in promoting your company, your products and services, that's a great online business networking event that you should be a part of. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and you can sign up for this exclusive event. And it is for next Friday. The time is almost here. We are very excited. We have great group of business professionals already signed up. And if you'd like to be there, you are more than welcome to sign up today before we sold out completely, because we can only get limited number of professionals on the online business networking event. I hope you join us. Please scan the QR code on the screen and sign up and join us next Friday, December 19th, starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time Zone. Today, the American Business Podcast is coming to you from Houston, Texas, the capital of energy capital of the nation. Our home is New York, and we'll be streaming from New York starting next week. And we'll continue our New York-based streaming starting next week. All right, great. Well, why don't we invite our guest to our virtual stage and let's get the conversation started. Hello, Dorian. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, great to be here.
Well, thank you very much. How are you? How is your week going so far?
Week is going really well. Fridays are always my favorite day.
Yes. Happy Friday. Yes, absolutely. Fridays are fun days, and we love to have our podcast also on Fridays. It's always fun, and we enjoy the conversation. Thank you very much for being with us. It's very nice meeting you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Of course, pleasure is all mine, all ours. Thank you so much for being with us. Well, as a start, would you please introduce yourself and your organization to our listeners and to our viewers?
Sure. I am Dorian Amador. I am the Executive Vice President and USDA Chief Credit Officer for Phoenix Lender Services. Phoenix Lender Services is part of the Community Bank Shares Incorporated family of businesses. Community Bank Shares Incorporated also has Community Bank and Trust West Georgia and Thomas Financial Group. Thomas Financial Group is one of the leading USDA and SBA packagers in the United States. Phoenix Lender Services, also leading packaging and servicing in the United States for USDA and SBA lending. And then Community Bank and Trust is a community bank out of LaGrange, Georgia, but also participates in government guaranteed lending, and that is also across the United States.
Can you tell us about your career journey a little bit? How did you get started? How your career journey has unfolded over the years?
Well, nobody ever grows up saying, I want to be a banker. I consider banking to be kind of like the Denny's, like you don't go to Denny's, you end up at Denny's restaurant. So I consider banking to kind of be that. I was working in retail and I quite frankly didn't want to work nights and weekends anymore. So I'm thinking, well, where can I work where I can get nice weekends and all those holidays off? And banking. So I quit retail and became a teller at the bank. And one of the things that I found out in very short order is that once I would master a job, I would want to know what the next job was and the one after that and the one after that. And the beautiful thing about working in a bank is there's so many different tracks you can take once you're inside of a bank. So as a teller, I wanted to be new accounts. And once I was in new accounts, I wanted to do consumer lending. Once I did consumer lending, I wanted to do commercial lending. So fast forward to now, I've had 30 years of commercial lending. I've done agriculture. I've done small middle market businesses. I've done regional community community banking, farm credit. So I've done just a little bit of everything in my banking career. I've helped start up banks. I've helped done major projects for banks. I've worked in a little bit of every aspect of the loan operations, project management, and lending areas of the bank. So, really it was just that simple wish of just having nights and weekends off that led me to get into banking.
Well, you have decades of professional experience, and you work with different organizations in your position. How is your day-to-day work? What are the exciting and challenging parts of your work on daily basis?
I think the exciting parts is seeing a loan go from start to finish. Like once we get a borrower in and we put their package together, and then we've gotten it through the lender, we've gotten it through USDA, and now we're working towards a closing. Like it can be a long and frustrating process at times, just because there's a lot of steps involved with guaranteed lending. But when you close, everybody is so happy. We've gone to site visits. The community is happy. It's just a very rewarding thing to see what we can do in rural communities in America that, really sets us apart from other lenders. But that's probably the best part is seeing a loan go from the initial intake to actually closing it and seeing how it impacts the community.
How do you see the state of commercial lending industry nowadays? The industry itself, as well as the industries that you are working with for commercial lending.
So I work on the government guaranteed side. So for us, it almost seems it's almost a little more inverse. So when times are good, commercial lending is popular because a conventional bank, they want to lend to people that have historical cash flow. So the joke is that they'll only lend to people that don't need a loan. But on the government guaranteed side, if inflation's happening or rates are going up or the economy is getting contracting or something, those are more desirable for government guaranteed lending, right? Because those are the people that are getting those ideas like, okay, well, there's no jobs in this market, so I can create a business plan where I can actually hire people and put jobs in this market. But it's usually happening when the economy is slower, right? So, for us, it actually works better if people are concerned about not having enough jobs. That's when they start creating that business plan. That's where their mind starts going, okay, where can we put a manufacturing facility for, like in COVID, manufacturing facility for latex gloves, things like that. So that's how people were thinking back then. And that's how people continue to think. So one of the deals that we're working on now is it's kind of like it's a food market, but it's in an area that is a very low to moderate income area. And so it's actually providing like really good fresh food service in this area that's pretty depressed, but it's going to create jobs. It's going to add value to the neighborhood. So those are the kind of things that people think of during these kind of cycles in the economy.
I'd like to learn about your take about the impact of AI. What do you think about AI? How do you see the impact of AI on business nowadays from your professional point of view?
Sure. I mean, me personally, I do use it. I use it for pulling out information very quickly that I can then validate. The problem with AI is you got to make sure that it's good information. I lean heavily on regulations, and I can hunt and peck through the regulation myself, or I can use AI to point me in the right place. Then I can zero in on the regulation and interpret it correctly. I think there's a good and a bad with AI. There's some ways it can add efficiencies, but if people aren't checking its work, you could come out with some bad outcomes. We have vendors that are trying to use AI to do some of their work, and then when we get the work, we can tell it's not correct. So that's the dangerous part of AI. Is like, use it to help write your copy, use it to help rephrase things, use it to maybe point you in the right direction, but don't use it to do your job. So I think right now, maybe AI will get there later, but right now I think it helps you do your job, but it shouldn't do your job. So that's how I feel it works for me. And I've used it to help me with, writing policy. I have a drafted policy that I had from a previous place but I want to update it to this place. Things like that, it works fantastic for. I could knock out 8 policies in one day. So, but if you're asking it to do your job, I think that's going to be where problems will happen. So I just have to be careful with it right now. It's good, but it's not great. It will be, but it's not now.
How do you define leadership from your point of view? And what are the great leadership qualities you will say?
Boy, it's a kind of a broad question, so I'll try and answer it as succinctly as I can. I think with leadership, qualities, I'll start with qualities, being empathetic, being approachable, being flexible, hearing other people's ideas, making sure that people feel like they're heard, that they're acknowledged, that they're supported. It's almost like being a professional therapist, if you will, because you want to make sure that they have all the tools they need to be the best version of themselves. I don't want to carbon copy people to be exactly like me. I want them to be the best version of them. So if they aren't chatty, if they aren't outgoing, that's great. Whatever it is that they do, let me help them do better. Let me help them, enhance whatever their skills are. So, not everybody wants to grow into a leadership role. Some people just want to be the best version of themselves in that professional role. I call it growing in place. So a good leader is going to support that and not constantly push them into a role that they don't want to be in. So I think really and also listening. I think listening is another thing. The reason why I feel that way is because probably the best manager I ever worked for was exactly that way. Like when it comes to evaluations, for example, her opinion is evaluation is your time to shine. So if I was not doing something correctly, she would address it right then and there. So then it would never escalate into a bad problem. So I do that with my employees. If there's an issue, we address it right then and there so that when I get to the evaluation, I can say, yes, this happened, but here's how she came out of it, or here's how he learned from it, or here's where the growth happened after that. That's the kind of way I want to evaluate employees. So I don't want to beat them up if they make a mistake. I just want to say, tell me what happened. Let's walk through it. Let's see how we can do it differently next time, and then go from there. And generally speaking, I don't get repeat issues. I generally walk them through and make them feel like they can make a mistake and learn from it. I call it learning. So if we made a mistake that cost $1,000, I'm like, well, there's your $1,000 worth of training for the year. So, I would rather treat it as a training experience than a beat up experience. I'm not, I like to lead with carrots, not sticks. And it's because I worked for a couple of wonderful people, and that's how they managed. And that was just always how I managed.
Yes, I love that style. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. Thank you, Doreen. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Norton, advanced tech for advanced threats. Sign up today. Norton offers you different packages to completely save and secure your data and your devices. Each Norton package comes with antivirus, malware, ransomware, and hacking protection capabilities. In addition, there is VPN, private internet connection, dark web monitoring, and parental control capabilities in each package. There is a promotion going on right now. I have the QR code on the screen. You can get up to 60% discount if you sign up right now for one of the packages. There are packages of Deluxe, Standard, Plus, and Select. Depends on the number of devices that you like to connect, as well as the features that you like to utilize when you are using Norton. I have the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you'll see the different packages and options available for you. Scan the QR code, go to the page that you like to sign up, pick the package that you like to use, and sign up today. True story. I am also using Norton on a daily basis, and I know all of my devices are secure every single day, thanks to Norton. Scan the QR code on the screen and start using Norton today and save your devices and your data in a safe and secure manner with the help of Norton. Thank you very much and enjoy the experience. Support for the show comes from Yelp. I've been talking to more than 100 business owners in the American Business Podcast. Do you know the biggest problem for small businesses nowadays? It is visibility. That is why you should sign up and list your business on Yelp for Business. I have the QR code on the screen, and when you scan the QR code, the form will show up on your screen and you can sign up on the registration form. It comes with free trial with no obligation. Make it easy for your customers to find you. Do you know there are more than 70 million customers visiting Yelp website looking for services from businesses just like yours? Restaurants, home services, professional services, and many other businesses are being searched on Yelp on daily basis. That's a great opportunity. If you list your business on Yelp, you'll be findable, searchable, and you'll be visible. When you are visible, when your customers are able to find you, you're in business. You can get opportunities, you can get leads, you can build a healthy and profitable pipeline. Consider Yelp for Business. Scan the QR code, sign up, and start your free trial. It comes with free trial. Very comfortable, no obligation. List your business and start getting the results and enjoy the benefits of Yelp Business. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Opus Virtual Offices. Opus is offering you more than 600 different locations in the US. It is $99 a month. This includes prestigious business address, professional live call answering, personalized call transferring, business phone number, local phone number, professional mail services, voicemail converted to email. I have the QR code on the screen. You can sign up for Opus today. Opus is offering you hundreds of locations in the US that you can pick, any of them that you like, and you can start having your virtual office today. Please scan the QR code and start using Opus Virtual Offices today. Thank you for your support. All right, we are back in the American Business Podcast. Well, let's continue our conversation, if that's okay. Well, Doreen, do you have any role models, any mentors that who help you shape your career perspective and career journey over the years?
Yes, I actually have a few. I've tried to over the years like find something that I get from every single person I work for. For the most part, that's been beautiful. The first person I ever worked for was in retail sales when I was 17 years old and super shy and afraid to talk to strangers. And rather than just cancel me out and let me go, she just said, "Let's learn how to team sale." And I just watched how she had conversations with people, and I did exactly what she did. And I sort of learned from there to look at what somebody does really, really well and copy them. And it makes me a little bit of a copycat, but it's kind of worked because I've learned how to do things really, really well. When I got into learning credit, I had a fantastic credit administrator who encouraged me to get back to college and get my master's degree later. And then I've, had just wonderful people that I've worked for. The next senior credit officer I worked for, he was very good at keeping mellow, not getting overly excited. Just so I like learned to pick up on his temperament instead of because I can go 0 to 60 excited very quickly. So I liked I picked up on him, how he did stuff. And then I tried to emulate that. And then even now, my current boss, Jeremy Gilpin, he's the chairman of the board of Community Bank Shares. From him, I learned more creativity and, don't try and go, middle of the road. If there's a creative way to solve a problem, then don't be afraid to think creatively. So it's just every single person I've tried to get a kernel of something that I can get out of them. And so it's just sort of helped me over the years really kind of build the kind of person and the kind of professional that I wanted to be. But those early on mentors, I think, were really key. Getting that college degree completed and, just learning how to talk to people. I actually ended up writing a paper in college, Why the Word No Doesn't Kill You. And then I ended up in business development and banking, for crying out loud, calling people and saying, "Hey, you want to do business with us?" And, if I hadn't had that moment in that retail shop, I don't think I ever could have grown into that person. So I credit a lot of the early on mentors, but I credit everybody I've worked for giving me something that's been able to help me in my career.
If there is one key career lesson that you learned the hard way, what would it be that you can share with us?
I wished I had gone to college sooner. I think when I finally graduated, I was about 10 years into my career. And so I felt like I was 10 years behind. So where I'm at right now, a lot of people are hitting, 10 years ago. So, I think that was my biggest regret, was that I didn't take being a professional seriously when I was younger. It just wasn't an emphasis in my family. No one in my family had gone to college when I did. I was the first one to graduate. I'm the only one with an MBA. And so it just wasn't an emphasis on my family. And I wish it had been. And, it's not right for everybody for every career. But the fact that I ended up in banking, and if I had had an accounting degree when I started banking, I would have. I think I'd be a CEO by now. So I feel like it did put me well behind. So I would say define what it is you want to do. Make sure you have the proper education and training for it, and then go for it. I waited too long to figure it out. I got too used to working and making money instead of developing a career. So that would be my biggest advice.
What are your Absolutely, yeah. This is definitely good to know, and we all learn from you. I mean, these are important information we love to learn in terms of your career journey and your professional background. What are your biggest interests outside of work?
Oh, let's see. Well, I live in Northern California. I live in an area that is affectionately referred to as wine country, not Napa Valley wine country, but Sonoma Valley wine country. And so as a result, my husband and I belong to way too many wine club memberships. The wine and food out in this area is just absolutely incredible. 100 miles in any direction gets you in some pretty amazing spaces and experiences. We also enjoy traveling. So when I'm not traveling for work, I like to travel for fun. So every year we try and plan a good trip someplace that's not work related. I do travel a lot for work because, as I mentioned, I'm in California, but I work for a West Georgia bank. So I have to go to Atlanta pretty frequently, which is great because my in-laws are there. So, we can make a lot of fun out of a bank trip. But probably vacations, and then just the food and wine experiences that we have around here. It seems like it seems ridiculous, but it's an experience. It's not just eating and drinking, if that makes sense. So it's a lot of fun.
Yes, absolutely. I've been to wine countries and in New York metro area, especially on Long Island area. So I noticed that it's an experience, not only about drinking or just having fun.
Yeah.
It's actually experience, because every single one is actually different and brings different complementary value to the table, really. So that's what I learned. So I truly appreciate that.
Yeah.
If you had a chance to go back history, personally or historically, to what time period would you like to go back, and why?
Oh goodness, this is going to seem really silly, but Christmas is my favorite time of the year. And so being like in that Dickens time during the Christmas season, where there's carolers and there's, street vendors with chestnuts, but I'd have to be a noble, because anybody that knows me knows that I'm a little bit of a princess, or a lot of a princess, but I'd have to be a noble for sure. But I would love to be in that time with the big hoop skirts and the muffs and just that whole Christmas. I don't know. It's just very nostalgic for me. So,
well, in your career journey, what is the best advice that you ever received, and what is the worst advice you ever received?
The best advice was to get my college degree. That was the credit administrator for the first bank I worked for. He just said, Doreen, if you had a college degree, we could really do something for you, because they put an emphasis on it for their professional development for their people. And I said, but Tony, I can't. I've got a mortgage. I've got this. I've got that. There's no way I could change how I work to afford to go to college. And he just said, if you want it bad enough, you'll make it happen. And I learned a lot from that statement. One of the biggest things was there's no can and can't, there's will or won't. So once I decided that I will go to college, I found a way to do it. I did work full time. I didn't sleep a lot, and I did cry a lot, but I did get my college degree done. And I got very good grades the entire time. So I graduated with honors, and I was proud to have done it. And it inspired me to keep going and get my master's degree. So that was probably the best advice I got. The worst advice I got was probably from a now ex-husband who told me just to be a secretary. You don't need to have a career, Dorian. Just be somebody's secretary. And I just decided at that point that I didn't want to be the secretary. I wanted to be the executive. So I just kind of passively aggressively just put myself to work and just started just accelerating in my career after that. So I at least recognized it as bad advice. So that I was very happy for. But if I had taken that advice, I don't think I would have the same level of satisfaction that I have now.
In this podcast episode, is there any question that you expected me to ask you, but I haven't asked you? I didn't ask you.
Oh, I expected you to quiz me ad nauseum over USDA lending.
Well, would you like to tell us about it a little bit more, perhaps?
I would love to tell you about it.
Right.
So USDA lending is a government guaranteed loan program. It's a misnomer to think that USDA lending is agriculture production. It actually isn't. The program that I lend in is business lending, but in rural communities. So the same business loans that you would get at a conventional bank for an existing operation, we can do in rural communities for startups, for manufacturing, for hospitals, healthcare. But the idea is to promote job growth in rural communities. So it's to really help the rural community with the increase in jobs, the availability of extra income to put back into the community. They look at wages. USDA does look at the wages that you're being paid to make sure that they're a good living wage. But the bottom line is to help create expansion in rural communities. And these are large projects. They're up to 25 million. This is not a loan size that a community bank in a rural community can afford. So it does help when people like us can go and put together a USDA loan program or loan package, get it approved and get it funded with a lender, and then get that guarantee on it. This is not taxpayer money. It is a bank money. The banks are the one that put up the money. They're just able to get a guarantee behind it, which is a good loan enhancement that encourages small banks to try and do more of the government guaranteed lending. So there's your answer.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate it. This is actually very educational. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, just to follow up, since actually you shared these insights. So you talk about actually manufacturing and other industries. Can you expand on it a little bit? Like what type of industries are typically working with this type of credit coming from?
Sure. We've done food supply chain industries. We've got a fishing tender up in Alaska that helps with the seasonal fishing, help package the fish while it's still fresh before it gets even to shore, so they can package it when it's a couple hours old. That was a $40 million project. We've done greenhouses. We've done manufacturing facilities, latex gloves, for example. We've done processing facilities. We do some in the oil and gas industry, but those are a little more volatile, so we've got to be very careful with those. We've done hospitals, healthcare facilities. Basically anything that needs a business loan, you can do a government guaranteed loan for, with a few exceptions. Like you can't use a golf course, things like that. But anything that's creating a lot of jobs is generally an appealing industry for USDA and for the lender.
Yes, sounds like variety of industries. Yes.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And this is nationwide, am I right?
Yep, nationwide in all U.S. Territories. So
what are the what are the requirements for application in general?
So the general requirements are they have to have a good business model. That's kind of I can go in for another hour of a podcast on business models if you'd like. But you do have to have a functioning business model that shows how you're going to generate the revenues to pay the loan back. That's the first step. The second step is having a feasibility study. So it's kind of like a business plan, but then you have an independent third party go and test your business plan and make sure it's actually going to work. There's going to be some other technical reports depending on the type of industry it is. There's environmental reports that are generally done. The environmental reports depend based on if it's an existing facility or if it's a ground up construction, which USDA will do ground up construction. Trying to think of all the other. There's a lot. Some of it's on the lender because the difference between USDA and SBA
Mhm.
The lender is the client of USDA, where in SBA, the borrower is the client. So the lender does all the form preparation basically for the customer, and then the customer's responsibility would be getting all the packages together. We need an appraisal, of course, to make sure that the collateral value is there. But it's definitely a process that you want to walk through with the lender.
Yes,
You
this
don't
is
want to try and
actually,
do it on your own.
yeah, this is really insightful. And you're right. Maybe we should have a separate episode just to talk about these,
Oh yeah.
details and
Oh yeah.
educate business community. Absolutely, that this is great.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think borrower education is probably a goldmine of information, because there's so much good practices that can be put out there for them to follow.
Mhm, mhm. And I'm sure there are you know um, um, the best practices in terms of application. It goes through, and then the result actually satisfy the requirements,
Mhm.
and that's a great win for the nation economically. That's for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, it really is. It really is. I've got 2 projects that I'm trying to get approved that would create, gosh, almost 90 jobs, and they're companion projects. So, there's definitely a lot of worthwhile time and effort that can be put into this, that can make the program really work. I think borrowers get a little bit shy about some of the work that needs to be involved. So sometimes we'll have that initial conversation. I'll be like, yeah, it's a little too much work, but it's so worth it. So I try and encourage people not to get bogged down with it. Let's just get through the process and it'll be
Mm,
okay. So
yes, and they'll partner with you, so you actually walk them through the process.
exactly,
So that really helps.
exactly, exactly.
Um, well, do you have any career advice for the next generation professionals coming into the job market?
Yeah, if you are wanting to get into lending, well, first of all, let me just say banking in general, people think that to be in a bank means you have to be in, working cash or doing loans or deposits, something like that. But it's not. There's marketing, there's risk management, there's so many different areas, there's accounting, there's so many different areas you can get into. So if you want to be in a bank, you don't have to be a banker. You can be an accountant, you can be a risk manager, you could be a marketing person. So that's the biggest advice I would say is, banks are great places to go and work. They've got great structures, they've got great people, they want to help people, they want to help expand communities. So if that's something that speaks to people, then I would say, get into that area if you want to. If you want to be in on the loan side, accounting is a huge thing if you want to be on the loan side. So I try and give that out as much as I can to anybody who says I want to be a loan officer. Then that's that's the part I would try and direct them to, is getting an accounting degree. We have an intern right now that was thinking about an economics degree, and I'm kind of wanting to steer him into an accounting degree because he really wants to do lending. So that's where you actually can get a huge depth of knowledge when you're a loan officer, is if you have an accounting degree. So if you're in banking, that would be the advice I would give somebody. But if you want to
Because
be in banking and you want to be a marketing person, get a marketing degree. Marketing you can do that too. So
understood. Well, you just mentioned internship. So, what is your take about internship for next generation to introduce
I think
themselves
it's a great thing
in
to
this
do.
industry?
College is not cheap. Do an internship. See if you even like it. If you don't
Mhm.
like it, then you can change your major. So that would be what I would say. If you're starting out college, take your prerequisites, do some internships, and see what you like doing. Because there's nothing worse than getting a degree in one area and then finding out you ended up not being in that area and you're paying for something that you aren't using.
Absolutely. So, my background is actually business software, and we have interns in our company as well. So it's good for everybody. I mean, we also meet them. They also meet the industry. They meet us. So internship is a great start for a career. That's what we have been seeing over
Yeah,
the years.
yeah.
Um, well, in this episode, do you have any question that you would like to ask me?
Well, you asked me a question early on. How did I get into banking? I'm going to throw it back at you and see how you got into being in the podcast.
Well, that's a great question actually, and I'm glad you brought it up. So, well, what I like is actually creating and facilitating environments where actually information can be shared, the relationships can be started in a business setting. So I started networking a long time ago. I love networking. I meet with business professionals. I make introductions all the time. I'm introduced to other businesses. So I always enjoy it over the years. So a couple of years ago, this idea of starting a podcast came to my mind, but I didn't know how to position it at that time. So I started observing other business podcasters, what they are doing, what is being liked by the audience, what is that they are doing that people don't like. So I watched like about 2 years, many different type of podcasts. Some leaning politically, some not the professional in terms of content, or they are just advertising their own business. That's all they do most sometimes. So all these like different types. So eventually I came up with the concept of creating an informative educational business content. And in these business podcasts, it's going to be independent, it's going to be informative, and also I like to have guests. It's not about me, it's about guests, professionals, experts, because everyone knows something and we bring it here and let them share it. I facilitate. So that's basically how it started over the years. And
Gotcha.
once we start creating the content, our audience, they start to like it, they start to support us, and our subscription grew and still growing. And we truly appreciate their support. And I'm happy to see this growth. Of course, it's a value that we are creating, and the way that we position ourselves as a podcast is the voice of American business, and that's a great mission. And we are working so hard to fulfill this mission. That's where we are coming from, and that's how we are motivated addressing these mission. Just like you mentioned, offering the credits to businesses to grow employment, right, in rural areas. That's a mission. That's a big mission. So our mission is to be the voice of American business, support American business. And when we say support American business, of course, it's fundamentally small and mid-sized companies. That's the backbone of U.S. economy. And
It's true.
I always say in the American Business Podcast, small business is big business. That is important, and we have to support it. And what is good for small business in US is good for US economy. And it's no small thing to talk about. We are talking about more than 30 million small businesses in US. So the US economy runs on small businesses, and that's how we basically got started from the beginning. So it was a long answer, but hey.
No, it's a perfect answer. It's true. It's very true.
Yes, and appreciate it. Before we end our episode, for those who like to be in touch with you, but what is the best way that they can be in touch with you and continue the conversation? I'll also make sure your background is also be seen and they can see your contact information clearly when you're answering.
I am in LinkedIn. I'm at phxbusiness.com. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Okay, perfect. So we also shared the contact information. They saw it. And if they like to continue this conversation, learn more about USDA loans and creating employment in rural areas, I think that's a great opportunity.
Wonderful.
Doreen, thank you so much for being with us in your busy schedule. It's been an honor. Very nice meeting you in the American Business Podcast. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for sharing your professional background, your insights, and your professional wisdom with us today.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
Pleasure is all mine. I wish you great holidays, great Christmas time with to you and to your family.
Wonderful. Same to you and your family.
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Well, to our audience, appreciate it. To our audience and to our listeners, we'll be right back after the short break. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from DocuSign. DocuSign is the latest cloud-based digital and electronic signature management software system. You can manage your vendor contracts, supplier contracts, customer contracts, NDAs, and any type of legal and commercial documents and signatures digitally on DocuSign. DocuSign is cloud-based. It means you don't have to install any of your documents, keep any of your documents on your laptop or on your mobile device. Furthermore, DocuSign is equipped with intelligent agreement management capabilities, and it helps you automate and digitize your contracts, vendor contracts, and customer contracts quickly. It is modern, it is secure, and there are more than 1 billion users using DocuSign. True story. I use DocuSign regularly for vendor and customer contracts, and it works very smooth. Highly recommended. You see the QR code on the screen, scan the QR code, it'll take you to the sign up page, fill up the form, join the DocuSign community, and digitize and automate your contracts and documents right now, just like I do on daily basis. QR code on the screen, scan it, and enjoy the benefits of DocuSign starting today. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Gemini Trust. Gemini makes crypto simple. Find, trade, and buy over 70 different coins, including Bitcoin and Solana, on the best cryptocurrency platform. Gemini Trust. Start trading crypto here. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and start signing up today. Because they have a great customer service, you can reach out to them and get assistance 24/7. Scan the QR code and start trading crypto on Gemini. Thank you for your support. Support for the show comes from Yelp. You know, I've been talking to more than 100 business owners in the American Business Podcast. Do you know the biggest problem for small businesses nowadays? It is visibility. That is why you should sign up and list your business on Yelp for Business. I have the QR code on the screen, and when you scan the QR code, the form will show up on your screen and you can sign up on the registration form. It comes with free trial with no obligation. Make it easy for your customers to find you. Do you know there are more than 70 million customers visiting Yelp website looking for services from businesses just like yours, restaurants, home services, professional services, and many other businesses are being searched on Yelp on daily basis. That's a great opportunity. If you list your business on Yelp, you'll be findable, searchable, and you'll be visible. When you are visible, when your customers are able to find you, you're in business. You can get opportunities, you can get leads, you can build a healthy and profitable pipeline. Consider Yelp for Business. Scan the QR code, sign up, and start your free trial. It comes with free trial. Very comfortable, no obligation. List your business and start getting the results and enjoy the benefits of Yelp Business. Thank you for your support. I hope you enjoyed today's episode in the American Business Podcast. We talk about banking industry and we talk about Dorian Amador's professional history and story and the background. That was actually very educational. And as I always say in the American Business Podcast, there is always something new to learn. If you like to be in the guest, if you like to be a guest in the American Business Podcast, you can also send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. We also welcome sponsors and advertisers. You can also send us an email for advertising and sponsorship opportunities, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. Please visit our website, americanpodcast.tv, americanpodcast.us, for coming podcast schedule, subjects that we will cover, as well as guests we'll have. So you can see and you can plan ahead and you can join us during the streaming of the American Business Podcast. As you know, American Business Podcast is a YouTube Silver Award-winning business podcast. We truly appreciate your support. It means a lot to us. And with your help and support, we'll continue growing the American Business Podcast and we'll keep bringing you educational and informative content in the American Business Podcast. If you haven't done so, please go to our YouTube channel and you can subscribe. I have the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, it'll take you to our YouTube page. Please subscribe. And if you are feeling more generous, you can also leave your comments in the chat box and let us know how we are doing and what you are thinking about the subject that we are covering. And finally, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, we have an online networking event coming up. I am inviting you, if you like to promote your company, your products and services, join this online business networking event. This is a unique networking event. It is podcasting and networking together. While you are networking with other business professionals, you'll be also on the American Business Podcast in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast followers, supporters, and subscribers. That's a great networking opportunity, and you can expand your professional ecosystem, and you'll be in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast viewers and subscribers. Please scan this QR code on the screen and join us. We have a limited seating available because of the limitations that we can have in the time frame that we have. That is why if you register today, that'd be great. Today is the day to actually register and sign up for this event. It is coming up next Friday, December 19, and we'll start at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time zone, and we'll stream live from New York City. Thank you very much for your support, and I'm looking forward to having you in the coming American Business Podcast episodes. Thank you very much, and have a great weekend.